Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking handlebars. And why do we want to talk about handlebars or clip-ons? Well, actually I'm going to be replacing my handlebars with a clip-on setup from Woodcraft, which I have mentioned before. So why do I want to do it? Like, this is such a comfortable bike. Like, it's an upright bike, so it makes sense to have a motocross type of like handlebar. Well, it is actually, it is fairly comfortable. And this one, in case you didn't know, is not the OEM handlebar that comes with this bike. And it's a little bit more flat, which is the type of handlebar that I like. But for the purpose of, you know, making my bike a drag bike, it doesn't mean that you have to. But I do love the more aggressive stance on this bike, even though I know this is not a sports bike. I know that. So this is not about me or judging people who does it or don't do it, and people saying, oh, you get an upright bike, but you want to be like hunched down as a sports bike. It's a matter of aesthetics and a more looking for a more aggressive position. So I like it this way, and I'm just going to walk you through the process of replacing this handlebar with a clip-on setup for this bike from the company Woodcraft. So essentially this is actually holding down the handlebar, so you're going to be replacing this alongside with these risers that I have in here, and I will be replacing that with the center plate from Woodcraft. This is an amazing piece of art, to be quite honest. Like, it's just super amazing. It's like very resistant to scratches. This one already has an actual riser in here, or you know, connection point where you're going to be installing your clip-ons, but you can actually get different ones. If you can notice, there's a difference between these ones and the positions, or how tall is this. This is just so you can attach multiple different options for your clip-on setup, so that you can tailor this to, you know, however you feel is the best position whenever you sit on the bike. So depending on what you choose, you can choose from, if I'm not mistaken, from like a 3 inches like lower from OEM, all the way to like an inch, or maybe in some cases half-inch, you know, increments. So you can play with changing the risers. So this is the one I purchased, and then this is some of the other options that I got in order to kind of tailor and to fine-tune the position for my hands. And then finally you have the actual tube that's going to go through here, and this is where you're going to put all your existing controls in your bike. So let's get started. All right, so I will be starting to undo the handlebar by just removing this 10mm bolt, and this is going to allow me just to, you know, have some movement on the handlebar, so I can start removing the controls. So since I know that I can slip out the actual, you know, throttle mechanism, I'm just going to be removing the brakes reservoir, but I will be only undoing a little bit, just, you know, the bolt on the actual controls, and then I will be completely removing the ones on the clutch side. If you have bar and mirrors, this is the perfect time for you to remove them. Now undo the controls on the left side or clutch side. Now with everything loose, I'm just going to be slipping the handlebar towards myself from the clutch side. Just like so. Your setup might look a little bit different to mine, but in this case, the most important thing is just to start removing everything related to the actual risers, or anything, or any clamp that is holding down the handlebar. You want the actual triple tree to be completely stripped, so you can start installing the plate on your triple tree. All right, so your setup might not be like mine, but in this case, I have a riser that has a bolt going from the top to the bottom. And then at the bottom of the triple tree, there is a nut actually holding down the bolt. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take my ratchet, and I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to position, I'm going to find the, I have to do a deep socket because it's a fairly long bolt. So I'm going to find the bolt, put it through, make sure that I'm looking underneath it. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to start loosening. Oh, here we go. Little by little. Oops, it's moving at the top, so I have to hold it. Let me move this to the side so you can see how it's moving. Okay, perfect. So it's not moving anymore. And now I can take it out. All right, so now this system is a little bit different to what we just saw, or what I removed from the handlebar that was in the bike. So the bike had these risers, which we're using just a bolt and a nut. So now, if you look at the bottom of the plate, this plate is actually going to be using a bolt going from the bottom, but then this right in here, it doesn't have a hole provided for a bolt to go through. So you're not going to be going top down and doing like this, like a bolt at the bottom, or a socket or a nut up the bottom. I'm sorry. It's actually just going from the bottom up, and you're just bringing the whole assembly down and close to the triple tree. So now let's get to it. What I did is I just purchased, two M10 1.5. I actually purchased two, a 25 plus a 30, just to test them, but I'm pretty sure this one should be enough. I'm just gonna do a quick test here. Let's turn this the other way. Okay. And what I want to try is, if you see the 25, it's considerably shorter. I just don't have the original bolts, in case you're wondering, because this is not, I'm the second owner or third owner of this bike, so I don't have the original one. So you see, that's a 25, and this should be enough to go through here, which is fairly deep. So I think this is actually a winner. And just to refresh your memory, it's gonna go like this, actually like this. Button or a bolt from the bottom. Yeah, we should be good to go. So I think there's 17. Yep, perfect, 17. So let's get started. All right, so there is a bolt in here going through the frame that's preventing me from being able to get a ratchet underneath the triple tree. So what I'm going to do is actually to loosen the top nut on the triple tree, just so that I can remove the triple tree, or the triple tree, being able to flip it, torque it, and then we should be good to go. Now I'm going to loosen the bolts on the triple tree. All right. So now we're going to do it like this, because it's going to be better. So now I can do this, and I have all the space in the world. Now we're back. Easy peasy. Okay. For now, since I'm not dropping the bike or lowering the bike for that matter, I'm just gonna put it like flush with the triple tree, not triple. Let me install the bolts so it stays in place. All right, as you can see, I removed the actual plate just so I can get access to the nut on the stem, and I'm actually going to bolt it down as well as torque it down, and now I should be ready to start putting everything back together. Now I'm just starting the reassembly by putting the plate back, and at this point I should be able to start adding the actual bars with the control. So since this is now two individual areas versus having a one handlebar that you have to kind of play with just to, get all your controls in place and whatnot, it's fairly easy. So I'm just gonna start with this one. I can probably go with the lower setup in terms of, the risers at this point. And so yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead, fairly easy. So this is the bar end. So you'll go insert like this, and then you can start reapplying or putting everything again back, all the controls back in here, and then you continue to adjust. And of course, this is gonna, we can play with this, but of course I'm not gonna do it like this. I just did it just for the purpose of making it as easy as possible for me while I'm installing this. So we should be good to go. So I'm just gonna be installing everything, and this is the beauty of this. So I don't have to completely undo this. I can just like run it through here like this, and then doing like this, like so, and then I can pull it again and bring this over. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this one first. I'm gonna do this one like this. Perfect. There you go. And now let me squeeze in the brakes. Since the brakes are open, meaning I can just do this. Perfect. Okay, that sounds good. So I have my brakes here, and now I'm just gonna bring this area right here. And once I have it adjusted, I'll adjust this one in here so this is not moving anymore. But for now, this should be, you know, fairly easy. I'll leave it off everything. I'm just gonna leave, you know, fairly loose. Because I'm not gonna start tightening up until I can get on top of the bike and I can get a feel for, you know, how the bike is sitting. Especially because I don't know. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna do something better. I just thought about this. Very carefully, I'm just gonna put this in here. And I say carefully, not because of the thing, just more because of the bike. So I just want to get a feel for how this is right here, and I think this is just perfect right now. I don't know if I want to go lower because the other one is actually longer, which I can flip and put it on the top. This is perfect, so I think I like this right here. So I'm just gonna go for this position. I just wanted to confirm this is the height that I want to go with. So this is perfect. I'm going to tighten this up. So now I'm just gonna, you know, it's the same process in reverse, but the most important thing in here is that you are sure that everything is free, that, you know, you can operate the levers, you know, the clutch and the actual brake, you know, without any interference. At the same time, you know, just sit on the bike, make sure that everything is within reach and you feel comfortable with the bike. I'm going to be reusing this grip. So now I have few videos about, you know, how to removing grips, but in case you're wondering, I'm just gonna do it right now. I'm just gonna heat it up a little bit and then adding a little bit of like oil so I can actually start working on it. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of like glue on this side of the handlebar and we should be good to go. Okay. I'm gonna leave it like that for a second, working on this. Okay, I think I'm good here. Now let's work on that grip. Actually, before we do the grip, let's just work on this one. Now I'm going to take this pick and working this with trying not to break it, of course. I mean, grips are fairly cheap, but if I can salvage this one. Okay, here we go. Now I'm just gonna clean it up because I don't want that oil not allowing me to ensure this is gonna stick to the other one. So let me just clean it with a little bit of degreaser and soapy water, just so I can remove all of that. And now we're ready to be putting this in the bike. All right, so now with this clean and dry, you can use any glue you like. There's glue specific for this. In my personal preference, I just use Gorilla Glue. I've used it plenty of times with no issues, and then even for removing later, it's not that big of a deal. You can heat it up and you know, pretty decent. So I'm just gonna spread it out, and now I'm actually gonna cover everything by twisting like this, so I can see the glue going in, and I'm just moving. Okay, so I got to the end where I want it, and I still have space that I can actually push the actual bar in, which is a great idea. And at this point, we're done. I mean, in my opinion, the bike looks amazing. I just love the look because it looks very streamlined. The only thing that I'm going to do is that I completely forgot that I wanted to So this is not the OEM location for the dash, so I'm just gonna go ahead and reuse one of these mounting points for the actual plate for the clip-ons, and this bar, and as soon as I reattach it, at this point I'm actually in a good place and done for the most part. So final thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and put the mirrors again for now. And I'm just gonna be replacing, you know, the cap. This comes with the cap. The bar is hollow, so it's very similar to the handlebar situation before. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put all the mechanism in here, so I can, you know, the spreader, whatever, so I can put it in here and have a functional, you know, mirror that I can use, because I'm not using or have the original mirrors. And at that point, we're good to go. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Let this dry for a couple minutes, hours maybe, and then just take the bike for a spin here, see how it feels. Come back. I'm not gonna go for a long ride. I'm just gonna go on a short ride, and then what I'm going to do is just to sure and make sure that everything is okay. Make sure that none of the bolts are actually coming off or getting loose or whatnot. So it's always a good idea just to recheck, specifically in this case where you're dealing with, you know, what's attaching you or allowing you to, you know, move the motorcycle. That's the one thing you don't want, you know, any type of play or anything, which is why I'm so adamant about using, you know, torque values and whatnot. So yeah, so I hope you like it. I'm just gonna give you a quick tour with my camera so you can see the final setup and you can compare and do for yourself. And then this is a great idea if you're looking for a better stance on your motorcycle. And remember, this is not only to get more aggressive, you can actually rise and do it like a riser, and then just flip these mounting points, and then you can have a better you know, position and fine-tune exactly how you want to feel on top of your bike. So I hope you enjoy this video, and now I'll just take it back for a quick spin. If you're enjoying this content, please subscribe, or just share with people that might be that can benefit from this type of content. I'm more than happy to, you know, share, answer questions, and actually learn from you guys if you guys have done these type of things before, and maybe there's something that I did not do that you love for me to do in the future. Just I have a lot of stuff waiting for me, parts that are still unopened that I'm going to be opening, installing fairly soon. So just come back and I'll have a lot of like super nice content to show you. So thank you anyway for watching, and thank you again for subscribing. Thank you, appreciate it. Have an amazing day.